The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Aspire Counseling Services. Call 829-7300. Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Fisher. It's a boy. Britain's Prince Harry announced his wife, Meghan, gave birth today to their first child. The baby weighed in at 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Harry was there for the birth and went before cameras with the news a short time later. NBC's Barry Arrett reports.
A smiling Prince Harry told the world himself that Meghan had delivered their first child.
I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy early this morning, a very healthy boy. Mother and baby are doing incredibly well. It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine.
The public announcement follows a pregnancy shrouded in secrecy. No due date was announced, and the couple said they did not know the sex in advance.
How any woman does what they do is beyond comprehension, but we're both absolutely thrilled and so grateful to all the love and support for everybody out there.
The official announcement that the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan's royal title, went into labor came from Buckingham Palace less than an hour before Harry went before cameras. He said they are still thinking about what to name the baby.
The baby's a little bit overdue, so we've had a little bit of time to think about it, but yeah, we're still... That's the next bit. But
Harry said we'll probably get our first look at his baby boy in 2 days. The couple married at Windsor Castle west of London last year. They moved into nearby Frogmore Cottage, a royal residence on the castle grounds. The baby will be 7th in line to the British throne and Queen Elizabeth II's 8th great-grandchild. Barry Arrett, NBC News.
All right, thanks, Kev. Well, it was a somber morning in Sacramento today as hundreds gathered to remember officers who have died in the line of duty this year. 8 peace officers were killed in California this past year. They joined the 1,500 men and women in blue who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Our Father, we are here today in memory of those who stood between us and lawlessness, those who faithfully served as police officers and supported the rule of law. As we honor our heroes who paid the ultimate price in the line of duty, we pray for those who continue to protect and serve the citizens of the state of California.
Last night, hundreds gathered for a candlelight vigil to remember those lost while wearing the badge. The investigation continues into a tragic plane crash in Russia. A passenger jet catching fire while making an emergency landing, killing more than half the people on board. Aeroflot Flight 1492 had just departed Moscow when pilots reportedly issued a distress call from the cockpit. Less than 30 minutes later, the plane was back on the runway, engulfed in a massive fireball. Now Russian investigators say they're opening a criminal probe to figure out what caused that deadly crash. NBC's Tom Costello has more.
Terror on the runway in Moscow Sunday as a passenger plane making an emergency landing suddenly burst into flames. One woman telling us as we were approaching the airport, we saw a ton of cars and heard sirens. The aircraft skidding to a halt. This apparent video from inside the cabin shared by Russian media showing the massive fire engulfing the aircraft. Firefighters battled heavy smoke trying to save passengers and crew as survivors sprinted from the wreckage in horror, some holding luggage, others with children. This morning, Russian investigators say 41 of the 73 passengers and 5 crew members on board perished in the fire, including 2 children. The Russian-built Sukhoi Superjet 100, operated by Aeroflot, had just departed Moscow en route to Murmansk when, according to Russia's Interfax news agency, pilots issued a distress call. Flight radar shows the plane turning around in the air before returning to Moscow nearly 30 minutes later. This video reportedly showing the belly of the plane scraping the runway before bouncing back in the air, then catching fire almost immediately. In a statement, Aeroflot says the plane was forced to return to the airport of destination for technical reasons. Experts say the Russian-made passenger jet has a questionable track record since its first flight in 2008. In 2016, Russian regulators grounded the fleet after discovering metal fatigue in one of its planes, a problem usually found in older jets. Investigators are now trying to determine what caused this deadly Moscow crash.
Tom Costello reporting. Well, it is currently named School Number 19, but now it's up to you to decide what the new high school in town will be called. It's being called the Name Our Next School contest. Starting today, the Kern High School District is accepting submissions of possible names for the schools slated to be built at East Panama Lane and Cottonwood Road. You have until the end of the month to make a suggestion. The winner will receive a school sweatshirt and a hat. For rules and instructions, you can visit our website, kget.com. We now know who will take the helm when the newest BCSD school opens next fall. The district has announced Rochelle Montoya will work as director on special assignments and serve as principal of Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. Montoya brings 2 decades of experience as an educator to the school, which will offer STEM curriculum with added emphasis on the arts to its approximately 900 K through 6th grade students. The campus is currently under construction near Cottonwood Road and Bell Terrace. The new school will be the 44th campus in the district and is scheduled to open in the fall of next year. Downtown Bakersfield transformed into the set of a national commercial this weekend. OnStar is shooting a commercial here on the streets of Bakersfield. The company is a brand of General Motors and provides subscription-based communications, in-vehicle security, emergency services, among other safety features, to its drivers. Yesterday, the company was shooting a commercial on Chester Avenue between 18th and 19th Streets. The producer told 17 News they are shooting still photographs to show how OnStar helps its drivers.
Hi, I'm Scott with Aspire. I want to personally thank Kern County for trusting Aspire with being a part of your family's recovery. At Aspire Counseling Services, we take this opportunity very seriously and would be honored for your continued support. Call us today.
And even though Relay for Life over the spirit of the giving of the Golden Empire doesn't stop there, we're just 24 hours away from Give Big Kern. The event is dedicated to raising money and volunteer hours for local nonprofits. According to the foundation's director of community impact, donors raised over $231,000 last year. Give Big Kern Day is tomorrow, but you can donate now by heading to givebigkern.org. It's so neat to see how we finish up on Saturday and Sunday with Relay for Life, and we go right into Give Big Kern just a couple days later. Welcome back. Kind of a rough day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones is currently down 67 points. NASDAQ down 42. S&P 500 down 13. Meantime, checking oil prices. West Texas Intermediate is at $62.60 a barrel, and Midway Sunset is at $68.44 a barrel. Conagra Brands is recalling more than 2 million pounds of P.F. Chang's frozen entrees due to misbranding and undeclared allergens. The recalled products include P.F. Chang's home menu chicken pad, Thai, and chicken fried rice frozen dinners. In this case, the company says the products contain milk, a known allergy, which is not declared on the labels. Consumers will want to look for a best buy date of September 26th through April 5th, 2020. The frozen entrees were shipped to retail locations nationwide, but the recall does not include any products sold at P.F. Chang's restaurants. So far, there are no confirmed reports of adverse effects associated with these products. Consumers are urged to check their freezers and discard the products or return them to the place of purchase. The business world is about to get a new crop of recruits because college graduation season is nearly here, and if you're the recruit, the pressure's now on to stand out from all the others. Our story from NBC's Chris Clackham.
College graduates this year are entering a job market that's showing a lot of promise.
There's so much competition for labor out there that hiring managers have had to relax some of the requirements and really rethink some of the ways they're hiring.
But that also means job applicants might want to rethink what they put on their resume. customizing it for each prospective employer.
Your resume needs to be targeted, your cover letter needs to be targeted, your LinkedIn needs to be targeted, your messaging in the interview needs to be targeted.
Targeted to the specific job you want with a willingness to learn and do even more.
The half-life of skills now is around 5 years, which means that half of what you learned 5 years ago is no longer relevant.
So HR and career coaches say, bring humility to the table too.
So much of success in today's workplace has to do with continuous learning and humility to keep learning.
They say employers want to see your 3 E's: energy, experiences, enthusiasm, and advise you clean up your social media profile too.
So please, those beer keg shots upside down on Facebook, get rid of them. Not a good idea.
And for future graduates, the advice is the more internships, the better chance at landing a job. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Welcome back. Games 1 and 2 of the Pacific Division Finals are in the books. Now the Condors and the Gulls are flying to San Diego for the next 2 games, and Bakersfield is looking to bounce back from 2 tough losses. Game 1 was on Friday night. The Condors dropped the first game in what was the 5th longest game in AHL history, the longest for the Condors. The game went into quadruple overtime, with San Diego winning Game 1 3-2. After that hard loss, the Condors hoped to make a comeback on Saturday night. Game 2 was off to a rough start as the Gulls jumped out to an early 2-0 lead before Ethan Bear scored the Condors' only goal of the night. The Condors dropped the game 4-1. Bakersfield is now looking to rebound in Game 3, which is set for Wednesday in San Diego. Well, controversy at the Kentucky Derby for the first time in its 145-year history. This weekend, a win overturned after stewards of the sport ruled an interference with other horses in the race. NBC's Ron Motz has more.
They're off. New fallout this morning after a stunning reversal of fortune on horse racing's grandest stage.
Maximum Security wins the Kentucky Derby!
But Maximum Security never made it to the winner's circle, disqualified for interference. The coveted garland of roses draped instead on his runner-up, a 65-1 long shot named Country House. It's the first such ruling in Kentucky Derby history, 145 races.
Those horses were all affected, we thought, by the interference. Therefore, we unanimously determined to disqualify number 7.
This is what all the fuss is about. Maximum Security on the final turn for home drifts wide, impeding 2 other horses in the field of 19.
It's hard to see that he did anything to Country House.
Nevertheless, Country House goes into the record books as a Derby champion, a nearly $2 million run to glory, millions more for the lucky few who called his name.
No one can describe that. I don't know, it's amazing.
There were 2 objections lodged against Maximum Security, prompting an extended review by race officials for more than 20 tense minutes as anxious spectators waited.
They have to make a decision. Did they see anything that clearly impeded the horse?
I never put nobody in danger.
The unpopular finish causing a frenzy of outrage. Even the president weighing in, tweeting, the decision was not a good one. Only in these days of political correctness could such an overturn occur. But in the end, there can be only one winner, even if they don't finish first.
And Maximum Security will not run in the Preakness Stakes. That word comes as his owner appeals the horse's disqualification from the Kentucky Derby. Gary West speaking exclusively to Savannah Guthrie and Craig Melvin on the Today Show this morning.
The thing that is kind of mystifying to me is that the stewards were either looking at a high-definition television or looking at it with binoculars. Our horse was in the lead the entire way around. They looked at exactly what the whole rest of the world looked at, and they didn't file a steward's inquiry. So I can't imagine that it was very obvious to them at the time either.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Aspire Counseling Services. Call 829-7300.